In his first season at the helm of the Green Wave, John Summerall's team went undefeated in the regular season conference play. They boasted one of the strongest defenses in the American and played in the championship game. The roster may look a little different in 2025, but the Green Wave have some new weapons they're ready to use this season. Welcome back to Charlotte here at the American Football Kickoff. I'm Maria Tribalpiece alongside Rini Ingolia, Lige Duzabol, and the head coach of the Tulane Green Wave, John Summerall. Coach, I just have to say that I am so glad that you made it here safely because I know you had some really rough travel yesterday.
Yeah, that private plane was a real big challenge. Security was kind of questionable, but it worked out. You know, I tried to get Coach Dilfer to come with me, but he wasn't available.
Shots fired.
Oh, no, yeah. He must have been busy with something else, I guess. But it's football season, so he's getting ready just like you are with your team. No,
he's awesome. Trent and I have a great relationship. We're all excited about the football season that's upon us. Media days, it's a necessary evil, right?
Right.
I mean, we love it, kind of, but really the reason we love it is because we're about to put the ball down and play, right? And so Trent's awesome. Have a great friendship relationship with him. I like to have a good time, and people probably read too much into some of this stuff. They're like, oh, is there like some sort of rivalry? And I'm like, no, we're actually like really good friends.
Yeah, busting his chops. Correct.
Like if you come to our building and our offices, it's constant banter. Like we're back and forth all day because if you're not having fun, why are you doing it? So we'd like to have a good time.
Yep.
Well, we like to have.
Oh, go ahead.
No, we like to have a good time here. So we're going to ask you a lot of questions and the hard ones. They'll dive into that a little bit. But just looking at your team already, what has been the atmosphere and vibe? Are you having fun? You ready to get into camp?
Yeah, I'm ready. You know, I like our team. A lot of uncertainty. We have two returning starters on offense, our left tackle and our left guard. Our defense is way more veteran. We've got 3 returning starters, okay? So it's way more stable. That's going to be a part of my opening remarks up here. Like, I've got this all figured out. You know, 60 new players. 51.7% of our roster, to be exact, if you're a math major, is brand new. Never put on a Tulane helmet for a game day experience. And so a lot of uncertainty. I like the group. It's been a fun summer. Spring was great. A lot of unknowns. You know, that's why you go to training camp. Everybody wants to ask, like, who's going to start here? Who's going to start here? I'm like, well, we haven't practiced like in pads yet as a full team, and we'll get there. But there's a lot of work to be done to figure out what that looks like.
Coach, let's talk about one of those new players. You guys just made headlines. Jake Ratzlaff comes on to the Tulane Green Wave. After doing your due diligence, what ultimately went into the decision to bring him on?
Well, the first part is the due diligence component. You know, anytime you hire somebody or bring in a new player, there's a process to vetting them, whatever that may look like. And there was a Title IX process in this instance with what had gone on, et cetera. Jake left BYU not because of any other reason other than an honor code violation. So that's a pretty important component there.
Correct.
In our Title IX office, after we turned it over to them and said, will y'all look into this for us and give us an answer, said, yeah, have at it. We'd love to have this guy be on our campus. So Jake and I have history. You know, I recruited Jake to Troy in 2022 when I was the head coach there. He had one Division I offer. All right, for about 4 months, and it was Troy. And then BYU came in late in the process. He was at Riverside Community College, and he chose to go to BYU to be closer to home, and a couple other factors that came into play. Excited about adding Jake to the equation. You know, bringing Jake in is not an indictment on what our quarterback room looks like, though. I believe Brendan Sullivan, Caden Samanza, Donovan Leary, like, we got good players in that room.
Correct.
And I don't prescribe to the theory less is more. Like, you know, you hear people say all the time, less is more. Like, no, it's not. More is more. I want more. I want more good players in our team. Like, I want the maximum number of good players we can have. And so when the opportunity presented itself after the Title IX vetting, you then go, okay, academically, does this work? And then you go, football-wise, does this work? Well, all those boxes checked, and he just got there a couple days ago, and he's, you know, hit the ground running.
To that point, Coach, I want to double down on the quarterback conversation because last year, going into camp, everybody thought Ty Thompson was going to be the quarterback. And me and you had conversations throughout the season. You said Darian Mensah just every day got better. And there came a point where you were like, we have to start this kid. So, like, if you're Caden Samosa or you're Sullivan or you're Leary, you have to realize that Coach Summerall will play the best player, no matter who it is. So, like, what is your message to the rest of those guys once, you decided to bring on Jake Retzlaff?
Well, all the guys got recruited the same way. None of them were guaranteed a starting anything. They were all guaranteed an opportunity to compete to win the job. All right. My wife would tell you if she was sitting up here with us, my greatest strength is probably also my greatest weakness. I am brutally honest, like to a fault. Like I don't pull any punches. And so you go back, reflect a year ago this time. When I took the job at Tulane, and I'm not kidding, this is no joke. Most of the people in the building didn't know how to say Darian Mensah's last name. They all called him Mensah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I learned through getting to know the kid, like, hey, his name's Mensah. And so a year ago this time, he was our third quarterback. Okay? The best man for the job will win the job through the competition. And that means they'll win the job for the opportunity to start game one. And how they play in game one dictates do they get to start game two and so forth and so on. But what our program, man, you get what you earn. There's going to be nothing given, and our guys got to work and earn it. I'm excited about watching them compete. The room that was already in place was a good room, and their response to Jake coming in has been nothing short of fantastic to this point in regards to their mindset and their approach.
Coach, you talked about what you have returning in starters, and when you have a successful program like Tulane, in the climate of college football, you're going to lose players in the portal. But because you are successful, you're also going to bring in good players in the portal. So there's that combination that I know you and your staff dealt with this offseason. But I guess this is a question for every coach out there. Culture-wise, though, when you turn over rosters like that, how tough is it for you?
It's challenging. What I will say first and foremost, the foundation you build in your team in regards to setting the standards and the norms culturally, they never change. So we don't sacrifice who we are for anyone. All right. So like we're going to be who we are every day, and you're going to have to meet that standard when you come to our program. The second part of that I think is just as equally as important is when we go into the selection process of who do we bring in out of the transfer portal. We have to do a really good job of making sure those guys understand, hey, this is how it's going to look here. Like, if you're not tough and you don't love football, I tell guys in my office, if you're not tough and you don't love football, don't come here. Go somewhere else. And I hope we play you when you go there. And so I'm very upfront with the guys. So when you recruit guys in that transparent manner about this is what it looks like here, this is the expectations, the standards, the demands, then all of a sudden, usually the guys that make that choice to be there with you, they like what that's about. They like that environment, that culture.
You talked about only having 5 returning players or starters from last year, Sam Howard being one of them. How important is it to have a guy like that when you talked about the turnover of the roster, to have a guy that's been in your culture, that knows what you're all about? Because I always feel like the best teams are player-led, right? When you have a guy like Sam Howard and guys can see how to do it the right way, how important it was for him to continue to be here and be with you at Tulane.
Yeah, what you said is vital. I tell our team this all the time. Good teams can be coach-led. Great teams have to be player-led to some degree. And that doesn't mean the coaches are off the hook for leading, but it means that the players, man, I cast the vision for our team and what it needs to look like, but it comes to life with our players. Like, that's where it lives. That's where the real organic culture of our program is. It's in the locker room. And Sam Howard is an extremely mature dude. Like, he is a grown man in how he lives life and how he walks and how he talks and how he works. Like, he is just a man's man, very serious guy, very consistent guy. I never, ever have to wake up and wonder, like, hey, I wonder if Sam's going to practice hard today, or if he's going to give great effort today. Like, he honestly, I get around with people, I'm like, Sam might be more mature than the head coach at Tulane. Like, he is an absolute stud, and love coaching him. Been a really cool addition. I'll tell you one tidbit about Sam. Man, he showed up in our program last May. All right, and we voted on permanent team captains at the very end of the season last year, and in 5 months he got voted one of the permanent team captains in a short period of time, which just shows you what kind of leader he is.
Let's talk about a few more veterans that are coming back. One of my favorites in your back end, Slim Despainey, comes back there. So you got a leader on the back end. Only 2 returning offensive linemen, but pretty good ones in Sade Hurst and Derek Graham. And then maybe the only person that is happy that Mekhi Hughes left, Arnold Barnes, because I think he's going to get a ton of carries. And I was really impressed when Arnold ran the ball last year.
Yeah, Duda, as we call him in our press, his nickname Duda. D-U-D-A. But Duda is a workhorse similar to Mackay. He's a big, physical, thick guy. He's done a tremendous job this summer of really sculpting and changing his body composition. He was a little pudgy when I got there, a little fleshy for my liking. Like his abdomen and my abdomen looked too much alike at first. And so, and I like to work out, but I'm not in as good a shape as I used to be.
Well, you don't need to run the ball 25
No,
times.
I know. And so, but Duda's had a great summer.
Good.
I like our running back room. I think we got depth there. You hit on some other key guys that I think are returning. Slim Despaney, he's one of the guys that's got a couple gray hairs, right? He's still around, and he's a great leader, a really consistent guy. Shadre Hurst, Derek Graham on the O-line. So while we don't maybe have a huge number of guys that have played a lot of football for us, the ones that are returning, they're legitimate, steady guys that you can depend on and count on.
And you talked about that culture piece, so when you bring those portal guys in, you have that foundation and those guys leading the way.
Yeah, like you said, player leadership, right?
Yeah.
Like, I know when we finished spring practice and we were in finals week, so it was dead for us to do workouts. It was a discretionary week where our players, no workouts involved. Man, I would walk out of my office and there'd be the whole O-line group running by themselves with the leadership of the position group, making sure the guys were all there running. And I'm like, that's special. Like, that gives you kind of gives you chills. Like, it like gets you fired up because, man, that's what you want to see your team do, is those guys take ownership of it.
The player-led teams, as you said, are the ones that end up being great. So, Coach, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. Roll wave.
Let's take a look at Tulane's schedule. We talked about it earlier in the show, that Duke game, probably one that the Green Wave would like to circle, in addition to a couple other ones. Hannah Brady has 2 Green Wave players with her at the desk.
Thanks so much, Maria. I'm here with linebacker Sam Howard and offensive lineman Shadre Hurst. Guys, just welcome to Charlotte. And how has it been the past couple of days?
It's been amazing, you know. It's just an honor to be here. You know, I think about a lot of guys that could be here in our place, and we're just grateful to be here. The hospitality has been awesome.
And then I want to talk to you a little bit about walking away from last season, being so close to achieving the conference title. What was life like that after, and what did the offseason look like for you guys?
I mean, just experiencing an ending like that is just like, it's one nobody wants to go through, but we went through it, we experienced it. So, you know, just going through that it shows us what we need to be better at, you know, where we need to improve, and, you know, just in off season we really focused on that, just areas we need to improve and to, you know, be successful this year.
And what are some of those areas you guys have been working on to make improvements for this year?
We've been improving offensively. We made a lot of additions in the quarterback room. Defensively, we had a lot of additions with our D-line, guys like Satana, Trey, things such as that. There's just some areas we've been, you know, working on, and I feel like I've seen a lot of progress in those.
And then Sam, I want to turn things over to you on the defensive side. Just a lot of changes there, a lot of new faces. You're one of the definitive leaders on this team, but what's this defense looking like?
Defensively, we just add a lot of depth. I believe that, like he said, like a lot of guys on the D-line, you know, coming in, a lot of new guys, a lot of new faces everyone's going to see. But we've developed a culture as a defense, you know, just to fly around, you know, hunt the football, and great things happen, you know. A lot of fun, as you can see, like we had a lot of turnovers last year. We just want to continue that this year, build on that this year. So, yeah.
And how did you guys break down from last season, being so close? What was the message from Coach Sumrall to kind of reignite this fight to make it back there and win it all this year?
Just honing in every day, like whether it's a workout, it's a walkthrough, a meeting, just being where your feet are. You know, you get to the end of the season and you kind of look over the fence like, oh, okay, well, who's winning, who's losing, who we're going to see in the championship, could we be in the championship or not? But at the end of the day, you just got to see what's in front of you. You know, just all you have is right there in front of you that day. Like, nothing's promised tomorrow. Like, tomorrow's not promised. You know, only thing's promised right here, this meeting right here. So, you know, just enjoying what's in front of you.
I love that. And Shadre, a lot of change on the offensive side. You talked about that quarterback battle, but also now with the addition of Jake Retzlaff, will you just talk to me about, you know, the quarterback battle and how each one of them have fit into the offense and what we can expect this season?
It's definitely been interesting to see the competition, see how they've been competing. I definitely feel like just with the competition being so high, they all have developed in their own ways. I feel just the abilities they brought to the team, just really like opened up the offense to new schemes and things such as that. So yeah, it's really gonna be exciting to see where it takes us.
And for you both, what have you both been working on this off season that you hope will show on the field once the season starts?
You want to start?
Just being more detailed in every snap. Just focusing on the details, getting off blocks, pad level, and just not being too anxious, I feel like a lot of time last year I was thinking too much. Just, coming in a new scheme and trying to learn the playbook and whatnot, but just being comfortable where I am now and just, like I said, just focusing on just the minute details.
Like Sam said, definitely focus on the details. One thing I focus on improving, just my football IQ, just learning defense, learning different defensive schemes. How could I just apply that to myself to just learn how the defenses work. How I could improve. Also, another thing is just improving my technique. Just working on those, just touching up on the details. Little things that may have caused a slip up last year, just improving that so we don't have any more, in the future.
We just saw your schedule. I mean, a tough non-conference schedule, and I'm sure some excitement about Week 3 versus Duke. But what are your thoughts about the schedule and just the overall season?
I mean, I think we just control our own destiny. With a schedule like that, just the opportunity we have to not only get national recognition, but also conference recognition. But like I said, just taking it one step at a time, 1 week at a time, focusing on that team that week, and just getting ready for camp now and just getting that development, that squeezing the juice out of the development we can get right before the first week. So just focusing on one day at a time,
Yeah. Could you say that one more time?
Just the non-conference schedule, a game you might be looking forward to, maybe Week 3 versus Duke. I don't know if that's something you have circled on your calendar, but just the overall thoughts on the schedule. Definitely a tough schedule. Just looking at it. But Week 3 is gonna be an exciting one. But we're here right now. In the moment, we gotta focus on just getting the camp. Having a good camp. Improving areas we need to be, and just really taking it week by week, so that so that we don't lose focus. And don't look over. Absolutely, just being where your feet are. And I'm excited to see you guys and how you guys perform this fall. But thank you so much for taking the time and spending a few moments with me here at the Players Desk. Just enjoy the rest of your time in Charlotte, and best of luck